If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to Downfall Network for more cool content. What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have something a little different for you. It's kind of a collection update, but it's kind of not. Someone in the comments actually said I should go through what I got in the Everlasting Spew box and go into the ones that I really liked out of it. Since I definitely had jammed all of it by now, I figured why not actually go through the ones that I picked out as definite favorites. And I think I'm going to do that with the boxes from now on, since I get a lot of cool random stuff in there. Of course, I'm excluding the repeats, which that means the Deimos album that I had, that I already reviewed, is out of this one. But out of the 24 that I got, 11 of them I definitely liked. And I'm going to start off with Barbarity, Keeper of Oblivion. This, I found out, was a Russian band. They are straight up old school death metal. Honestly, out of the entire batch, this was the only one that was kind of that straight up meat and potatoes, old school death metal. Real sludgy, organic production on this. A lot of the other stuff kind of favored more brutal death or technical death or modern death metal. There were some other exceptions, but this one definitely stood out because the style was different. Really enjoyed this one. Again, it's very meat and potatoes, straightforward. If you're looking for that sort of sound, like very jungle rot, obituary, kind of groove-oriented death metal, definitely check this one out. This was a lot of fun to listen to, and I definitely want to check out more by this band. Braincasket, Ratchet of Perdition. This one was kind of a surprise for me. Now, this one didn't come out on Everlasting Spew. In fact, the last one didn't either. This was on Severed Records, and that one was on Pathologically Explicit Records. Or Cartel. Yeah, whatever. Either way, I pretty much went into this one like, alright, it's brutal death, it might be slam. I'm not the biggest slam fan. I don't like all the burped vocals all the time. Like, periodically, it's cool. Not all the time. This is actually really solid. Tight grooves, and it kind of has that slam-like production. The snare doesn't have the plunk, though. It's more of a tight snap to it. And overall, I just enjoyed the intensity, and it's just heavy as hell. Like, I really enjoyed this one a lot. I was really surprised, because I was like, I don't know, this might not be my thing. And it's also on Amputated Vein Records, which I just now noticed, and we've actually reviewed stuff for them before, too. But yeah, this was a solid listen. Definitely recommend checking it out. This might be their only full-length release. I'd have to go back and check again, but this was a really solid one. Definitely check it out. Construct of Lethe, or Lethe. I'm not sure how you say the last word. Anyway, the album's called Exiler, and this one did come out on Everlasting Spew, and this one is fantastic. This might be possibly my favorite one out of this batch. This is really dense, atmospheric, technical death metal, but it's not like tech death. It's more like incantation and immolation, but they have those weird angular riffs, and the atmosphere on here is just insane. There's a lot of cool vocal stuff going on here too, like anguished shouts to down to growls, and man, the songwriting on here is just incredible. I absolutely love this album. Now, to be fair, I'd actually jammed a couple of tracks from this on YouTube before I actually got it in the box, but hearing the full album, this is amazing. And if you're a fan of just atmospheric, wildly constructed death metal, definitely check this one out. Deathtopia, Remember the Pain. This one didn't come out on Everlasting Spew. This was on Splatter Zombie Records, which first I've heard of that label. Now, this one was almost kind of like Carcass Exhumed Worship. Very straight up kind of death grind. And they're from Japan too, which Japan has such a wild metal scene. It's all over the place, and it is just crazy. Really enjoyed this one. Very straightforward. Definitely, again, a lot of Exhumed and early Carcass worship on here. It's very fast and very thrashy. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely check this band out. Check out their other releases too. I was actually looking around on YouTube, and they sound pretty tight. Check it out. Demiurgon, The Oblivious Lure. Now, this one is another one that came out on Everlasting Spew, and this is really solid, technical, brutal death metal. This is just insanely fast, tight blast beats, chuggy breakdowns, heavier than hell. I thoroughly enjoyed this release. This was another one that was definitely a favorite of mine, and I'm definitely on the lookout for more by these guys. I really just enjoyed the overall sound. The production on it was excellent. Songwriting was intense, but there's also good spots of melody on here and some solid lead work. Definitely check this out. Solid album. Embrional, the Cusp of Evil. Now, again, this is another one that didn't necessarily come out on Everlasting Spew. This is on Old Temple Records, and these are individually numbered, number 212 right here. And this was some excellent... It's kind of old school death metal, but it's also kind of more in the atmospheric realm. This is just really well written, well constructed death metal. I didn't like the fact that there are a lot of smaller interlude tracks in between these tracks, but overall I love the songwriting. There's some tremendous hooks in this too. And again, I'm definitely on the lookout for more by this band, which is pretty much kind of a theme with all these releases. Once I heard what they had to offer, if they're still around and still putting out albums or have other albums, definitely want to find them. This was absolutely killer. Again, if you love death metal in general, definitely check this out. Hybreed Chaos, Entombed in Dark Matter. This one came out on PRC Music instead of Everlasting Spew. And again, this is really good, like technical, but still kind of little bits of old school death metal here. Like definitely some like Floridian stuff in there too, because there's definitely some thrashy moments. Really solid release. I definitely enjoyed this. And it was good seeing something from PRC Music. That's a label we're definitely familiar with because we've reviewed some stuff for them before, and they definitely have a lot of cool stuff on here. Definitely check these guys out too. Check out all these bands, of course. But yeah, this is a solid release as well. Hypoxia, Abhorrent Disease. Now this one is on Self-Made God Records, and I feel like I should have known about this band because the frontman is actually the current frontman for Monstrosity, I believe. And this is very thrashy death metal. Like, it kind of borders on death thrash, but I think the amount of blast beats in there, it really has that kind of Floridian sound, like very like Deicide, Monstrosity, even some Malevolent Creation in there too. Solid listen. I definitely enjoyed how thrashy this one was. It was a little bit different than a lot of the other stuff on here, because most of it, again, was more like that modern death metal sound, and this was kind of a throwback to like that 90s Florida sound, albeit with some more modern production. But solid release. Definitely check out this band too. Good stuff. Onryo Muto. Now this was a 5-track EP. This is technical death metal, and this came out on Everlasting Spew as well. And pretty solid stuff. It's a really interesting EP. There's even some kind of proggy moments in here too. But pretty much straightforward technical death / modern death metal. Nice polished production. Really intricate writing on here. Definitely enjoyed it, and definitely going to look for more by these guys. Check them out. Serocs, the Phobos / Deimos Suite. Now, to be fair, Jam and John brought these guys up to me before, and I had actually jammed this album before, and when I got it, I was excited to have a physical copy because I really enjoyed it. But if I didn't get a chance to labor the point that you should definitely check this band out in the unboxing video, definitely check this band out. Really, really cool, technical, brutal death metal. It kind of balances between the two. And my God, the bass work on this album is fantastic. I said the last track runs maybe a little too long for a tech death track. It's about 15 minutes. But overall, a lot of hooks in here, lots of wild writing, and I believe they have a new EP coming out, and that should also be on Everlasting Spew, so definitely look for that one. I'm definitely looking for it. But yeah, check these guys out if you haven't heard them before. They're really good. And finally, Wounds, Light Eater. This one is some exceptional tech death / modern death. It's kind of a blur of that, because you get really techy moments, but you get a lot of really good riff-oriented moments and lots of melodies that carry on for periods of time without going into the beatly wahs, just to throw some flashiness into it. Really enjoyed this. This is just a 5-song EP, but every track on here was an absolute banger. And as far as the more tech death stuff that came in here, this was one of my favorites for sure. This was just excellent songwriting left and right, and I'm definitely looking for more by this band for sure. Definitely check this band out, and of course, check all these bands out for sure. Alright, those were definitely my favorites out of that box, and I'll probably go through the one I got from Obscure Domain eventually. There will be links to all the music down in the description below, as well as links to Everlasting Spew's site. So if they still have those mystery boxes, definitely check them out because they're loaded with good stuff. And if not, just check out what they got there, because there's a lot of killer death metal on there especially. So, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. Catch you guys later.